Hi everybody, today I want to show you some ways to tie off your Becket hitch and eliminate slipping when using slippery webbing such as spider webbing, Dyneema, or ultra high molecular weight polyethylene. So here's a universal loop. This represents the end of my hammock. And the first one I want to show you is my most recommended one, the one I recommend everyone try because it works really good. You just take your continuous loop and flip a lark's head into the end, like that, and then drop your webbing through the lark's head and close the lark's head up. So here it is on the webbing. You got a lark's head. You got your little pull handle, since this is a universal loop. This will work with the regular continuous loop too. And now when you want to set your hammock height, all you do is put a stopper knot a little bit above where you want to go, because the stopper knot will shorten up a little bit, and then bring the universal loop down onto the stopper knot, and this will suspend you in your hammock. The continuous loop will close up smaller and smaller, which will prevent the stopper knot from pulling through. And when it's time to release, just like with a Becket hitch, you have a slippery knot that will pull through. And this stopper knot, unlike a Becket hitch, will not jam up as tight as the Becket hitch. So when it's time to untie this knot, you just grab here, and the knot will come loose a lot easier than a normal Becket hitch. And with the continuous loop being a universal loop, you have a pull handle. So this lark's head will never get tight. Because sometimes with a normal continuous loop, as you hang on this lark's head will close up really tight, and you will go to adjust it and it'll be hard to move. With the universal loop, these two strands just run up against the knot, so the loop doesn't close up ridiculously tight. It kind of has a little bit of a limit to it, and it always offers this little bit of leverage to open the continuous loop. So that's the method that works the best for me. So one I recommend everyone try. And so now let's just go to the regular Becket hitch with the universal loop. So with the slippery webbing, the Becket hitch can slip. You really have to pay attention to getting the knot tied tight at first. So with the 1.4 webbing, I recommend using that method I just showed you, or a modified Becket hitch. So here's a normal Becket hitch. The way I do the modified Becket hitch, I go like a normal Becket hitch, but when I go through this loop, I wrap this loop around one more time and then go through it. I'll link another video in the description. And the only thing about this one is it slips a little bit at first because it's pulling all those extra coils tight. So if you want ease of use, you might not like that modified Becket hitch. So here's a couple other things you can do. You can do the Becket hitch and daisy chain it. So here's the Becket hitch, and to daisy chain it, you're just putting another bite through this loop right here. So you can close this loop up a little bit, and then put a bite of the webbing that's hanging down into there, and close that loop up on itself. And now you've put a safety knot into that loop. And just like with the Becket hitch, it'll still quick release. And then if you don't have enough webbing down here, or if you want things to be even easier with that method, go ahead and tie the Becket hitch as normal, like that. But you can use the pull handle of the universal loop to drop into that loop and then pull it closed. So now you have a little extra safety knot using the tail of the universal loop. And when you go to release this, well, you can't just release it like that. But what you do, grab the universal loop pull handle, pull it up a little bit, and that will give you leverage to open that part of the knot, and then you can pull the loop out, and then it will quick release. So basically, you can use the webbing to create that daisy chain knot, or you can use the tail of the universal loop to create that. In the description will be a link to the war bonnet video of how to do that, and one of my videos on how to do that too. Okay, one more thing you can do with your universal loop. Here's some daisy chain webbing. You got a universal loop on the end of your hammock. Lark's head it. Flip a lark's head into it like we did with the Dyneema webbing. Once you got the lark's head, pass the webbing through it. Okay, so now you have this part here would be where the hammock is, and here's your webbing, and your adjustment comes from sliding this up and down. And then when it's time to lock this in place, you just open up the loop where you're wanting to lock it. Let's say we're going to do it right here. You can see these loops sometimes are not easy to access, but I'll show you a fix for that here in a second. So this is where I want to hang. I'm just going to take the tail of my universal loop and drop it in there, and then close this up against the tail. And so now what we've created is an instant soft shackle. The loop of the daisy chain webbing is the noose. This piece of rope is the normal stopper knot of a soft shackle, and this will support your hammock weight. And it also provides a quick release. All you have to do is pull on this a little bit. It lifts everything up, and grab the knot and pull this out, and then you can slide up and down and adjust again. If the lark's head gets really snug on the line, no problem. Just pull this tail. It will open it up instantly. And then on your daisy chain webbing, sometimes it's hard to get into these loops. Like if your hands aren't perfectly dry, or perfectly moist, or you have gloves on, because they're both the same length. They don't have that thing like the Atlas strap where one is sewn longer like this. So what you can do is flip them. You see these right here I've already flipped. I'll show you what you do. You just open the loop and then flip the webbing back on itself like this. So now it looks like that. And then you can do all of them. What I do is I flip one way and one the other way. That way it looks even down the length of the line. And when you do that, it creates this little pocket where it's easy to get a carabiner right into here, and it's easy to drop the stopper piece in there. And if you feel like just having those two strands in there won't support your weight, they will. This line will actually break before that little soft shackle we created fails. It'll actually, the webbing itself will fail before this fails. But you can also, if you just want it to be more secure, you can also pull the whole knot through. If you want, you can take that knot and pull it beyond the webbing, like I've done right here, and then close everything up on it. It takes a little bit more effort, but now look. Now you have the knot all the way through the webbing. You have a lark's head closing the webbing over the knot. And this is very secure. Now, this is not going to come loose. Even if you're getting in and out of your hammock or the tree is shaking violently from a storm, you see this little noose that's created by the webbing right here. It's closing around the knot. Very secure. And also still offers a quick release. Just pull on this a little bit, and that pulls the lark's head up away from the noose. And then from there, you can push everything through. It takes a little bit more effort than just putting the tail in, but it's still easier than a carabiner, and it's much easier than grabbing a bunch of extra webbing from down below and trying to stuff the webbing in like this. And if you don't have enough extra webbing to stuff a bite in this method I'm doing now, this can be problematic. So all you need is a continuous loop like a universal loop, and you can just take the tail, put it into there, and slide the lark's head on it. And you have daisy chain webbing that works without carabiners or any kind of hardware. All right, guys, that's it. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, or subscribe.